Welcome to the amazing, interesting, unusual hobby show. And this week we have someone, I think you're going to like this one, maybe even better than last week, who knows? And it's a cracker, I think. So, what's your name, sir?
My name is Richard Anderson.
Okay, Richard Anderson. Now, what is this hobby, this strange, unusual hobby you've got for us?
I gate crash funerals, pretending to know the deceased, and compete among the loudest.
Okay, and are you keeping this within the family at the moment?
Oh, no, these are complete strangers. I don't know them from Adam or Eve, or Steve, and I'm going in pretending that I know the deceased when I really do not. They are complete strangers.
Okay, then how did this start?
Well, that's a rather interesting story. I was walking past I suppose it'd be like one of those civil union type places, and there was a funeral. There was a hearse outside, and I went in, and I noticed that the people were really getting into the mourning. They were really getting into it, and I just happened to have a black coat on, and so I started going. And a rather attractive woman put her arm around me. And so I went, it all started there.
Right, but do they not get suspicious and question you and say, who are you again?
Yes, that is what I would call an occupational hazard. The words I fear most in the world are, how did you know the deceased? But I have come up with quite a number of different answers to that question.
Such as?
Well, for instance, one of the first funerals I went to was a road accident. It was an elderly lady who had been knocked 15 feet into the air off her Zimmer frame, and she landed hard on the ground, cracking her skull and dying almost instantaneously. And I was at the back, mourning and lamenting, like this. And afterwards, her son came up to me and said, how did you know the deceased? And I said, I was driving the car.
That's quite dark, don't you think? How do they react?
They usually have a spectrum of reactions, from the puzzled, to the confused, to the downright irate.
Did you get any reactions from autistic people on the spectrum?
Oh, yes, I get the head smackers all the time. For instance, I was at a funeral where a boy had died of AIDS. And I was mourning at the back, boo-hoo-hoo. He was so full of life, so bubbly. He was so full of bubbles. And an autistic boy came up to me and started smacking himself on the head, going, ooh, you, ooh, you, ooh, ooh. And I said I was his gay lover.
Did you ever get to read an eulogy at a funeral?
Quite a number of times I've been able to wheedle my way into the eulogy reading, which, to be fair, I make a complete cockapole because I don't know the person from Adam, Eve or Steve. Sometimes I get up and I just say, he was so full of life, he was so bubbly. Then he got AIDS, and now he's dead.
Are you making any money out of this, I wonder?
Oh, yes. I mean, for instance, I was at a funeral only the other day, and it was a woman who had served in the NHS as a fat nurse for 30 years. She'd worked with the criminally insane and the terminally ill. And there was a collection at the end. There was a little collection plate for Macmillan nurses. But I half-inched that straight away.
It sounds like you can become famous doing this, perhaps.
I certainly hope so. It it's the sort of thing that I think that I would be proud of at my funeral if I became so famous that it was full of people that didn't even know me.
So how would you summarise the buzz you get from this?
The buzz is intense, especially when I start cursing various exotic gods. I say, damn you, Homer, even though he wasn't a god. He was an actual writer of Greek fiction. I say, damn you, Hermes. And then I start giving them attributes that they don't have. And I say, curse you, Zeus, O ruler of the sea. Curse you, Thor, O lady of the night.
Have you ever gone to a bite to eat after the funeral, or like a finger buffet or something like that, and you've been asked awkward questions?
I love finger buffets, and I have been asked many and varied awkward questions in the course of my time of the fingering of the buffets, because I love the tuna vol-au-vents and the cocktail sticks that have cheese and pineapple on them for some reason. Love those. Love a good finger buffet. Yes, I get asked awkward questions all the time. I mean, for instance, the funeral that I was just mentioning, where the poor young lad had AIDS, his gay lover came up to me and said, you said you were his gay lover, but I was his gay lover. And I said, oh, well, maybe we could have a menage a trois with the corpse.
That sounds like a awkward love triangle going on there.
It was an awkward moment that passed quickly once we actually tried to work out the logistics of the digging up of the corpse, and we called it a day.
Have you got any plans for future expansion?
Oh, yes. For instance, I recently went into the animal funeral game, which is an interesting one, because it's often very sad, lonely, and rich old ladies who have their animals buried. I mean, the rest of us, we just flipping chuck them down the tip, but not those. And it's quite I'm willing to field questions on the animal funeral front. Let me just put it that way.
Okay, do go on. I'm interested in animals.
Aren't we all, dear? Aren't we all? So I was at a cat funeral the other day, and I started lamenting, oh, he was so frisky. He chased mice. He was so full of friskiness. Whenever there was a string around, he would just run after it. And I started wailing. Luckily, one of the women had a heart attack.
Do you prefer to attend burials or cremations?
Oh, well, that would be a very hard question. That's a Hobson's choice of a question. I love both of them. I mean, the idea of burying someone in the ground, not seeing them again, is a nice idea. But also the idea of burning them to ashes is an equally appealing idea. I get the buzz off both. Oftentimes, I'm the person who's fighting the people trying to bury them. I say, no, he's not dead. He's not dead. I don't care that he's got AIDS.
Have you ever had an altercation with an undertaker?
Oh, many times. Excuse me. There was one time, it was a middle-aged man, and this was the man who was being buried, and he was HIV positive. I'm positive of that. And they were lowering the funeral casket into the ground, and I was saying he was so full of life, even though he was riddled with HIV. And the burial funeral fellow started saying, I've got to fill this funeral in. I said, no. And I took the shovel off him and I chucked it in the road. And he said, what do you do that for? And I said, he was so full of life.
Well, do you have any words of wisdom for the living, those who may want to follow in your footsteps?
Maybe. I'm not sure. You have to have a very certain type of personality profile to enjoy the sort of work that I enjoy. I mean, for instance, I was at another animal funeral the other day. It was the same collection of old bags with too much money. And it was this poodle that had died. And so I was at the back going, oh, he was so loyal, his hair was so curly. It was so curly, he should never have died. Anyway, they chucked me out of that one.
Does this happen often?
While getting chucked out of funerals?
Yes.
All the flipping time!
Oh, that's unfortunate. Anything else you want to say to us before we close the show?
I've got a few things to say. Firstly, hearses turn me on. When I see a hearse, it's like an erotic experience for me. And I know someone's probably died of cancer.
Yes, that's usually quite hilarious.
They call it the C word. At the wake, for instance, they say, oh, he died of the C word. And I say, what, he was a cunt?
And then you say?
And then they say, no, cancer. And I say, oh, cancer, that's as deadly as HIV.
It is, you've got to be really careful these days.
Yes. I was at a circus animal funeral, and that was an interesting one, because it was an absolutely huge coffin. It was an elephant that died, and for some reason they had some emotional attachment to it. And I was at the back doing the usual game. Oh, he was so elephanty. He had such a massive trunk and a huge cock.
Did they manage to get any ivory out of it?
Well, maybe. As they were leaving, I thought it was a good time to start singing the Paul McCartney and Michael Jackson song. Ebony and ivory go together with perfect harmony.
I see, yes, the elephant in the room.
I was calling out the elephant in the room. It was called Dumbo.
Do you believe an elephant can fly?
Maybe. I think that the thing that I really get out of it is the death buzz. Because what people talk, a lot of people on this show, and I've listened to the show, I'm somewhat addicted to it. And their buzz they get is a buzz for things that are living. Oh, for me it's death. Every time. Oh, wow. What a buzz. The death buzz.
Okay, thank you very much for coming on. I think it's time to wrap up there, don't you?
I do. I just have one question for you before we go, and that's you're looking quite peaky. Is there any chance that you'll die soon?
Yes, I'm hoping to join Stephen Hawking.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.